Hello, and welcome to the Placentia Library District's Memory Lab orientation video. This video serves two purposes. The first is to teach you how to use the Memory Lab in preparation for your first visit. The second is for you to use as a guide to reference in the future. In this orientation, you will learn 1. What the Memory Lab is, 2. How to book an appointment and what to expect and bring during your appointment, 3. How to use the Memory Lab. For this section, we will cover each format the Memory Lab offers. Feel free to watch only the section or sections for the formats you will be using. 4. What you can do with your digital files. And 5. Additional resources for those interested in digitization and preservation. The Placentia Library Memory Lab is a do-it-yourself digitization space where you can convert your memories into digital files. Digitization is the process of converting your old analog formats, such as VHS, mixtapes, or film negatives, into a digital format, so you can view them on your phone, computer, or TV. It's a do-it-yourself model, meaning the library provides the equipment and step-by-step instructions, but you control the process from start to finish. Our mission is to provide communities the ability to preserve their treasured memories through digitization. The Placentia Library Memory Lab currently supports the following formats: VHS and VHS-C, audio cassette tapes, sized 1/8 inch, 3.5-inch floppy disks, DV cam and mini DV, digital 8, high 8, and video 8, documents and photographs up to 8.5 inches by 11.7 inches, film negatives, 35mm slides, CDs and DVDs, and 8mm and Super 8mm film, video only, no audio. All other formats not listed above are currently unavailable at our Memory Lab. Not sure what formats you have? We created a guide to help you identify which formats you might have. Download the PDF on our website or grab a paper copy next time you are in the library. Note that this guide includes formats that we are unable to digitize at this time. The Placentia Library Memory Lab was made possible through the efforts of the following organizations. In 2016, the Library of Congress partnered with the District of Columbia Public Library to create the DC Memory Lab. In 2017, the Memory Lab Network was created through a grant from the Institute of Museum and Library Services. In 2018, the Los Angeles Public Library was awarded a grant to become one of the first 7 libraries in the Memory Lab network. In 2022, the Placentia Library District was awarded the Copycat Grant through the California State Library and efforts to expand this network. The creation of digital files will make them more useful and will help you organize your memories. It also allows you to share these memories with friends and family members. While the Memory Lab is a great resource for your personal use, its value goes beyond yourself. The loss of historical and cultural information about the late 20th and early 21st centuries is imminent. Historians refer to this future as the digital dark age. Future generations may find it difficult or impossible to retrieve documents and multimedia from the last 50 years. For example, the last VCR was manufactured in 2016, and VCRs are no longer manufactured, and VCR parts are becoming scarcer. All Memory Lab users must follow the policies of the Placentia Library District, including but not limited to the Public Behavior Policy, the Library Internet Use Policy, as well as any other applicable library policies and procedures. To read more about these policies, visit www.placentialibrary.org/library-policies. The Memory Lab is for ages 14 and older. Children 13 and younger must be accompanied by a parent or legal guardian. Parental consent is required for ages 17 and younger. Food and drink are not allowed in the Memory Lab as they can damage our media equipment, as well as attract pests that can damage materials. Users are responsible for saving their work on a personal external memory source. Please bring a USB flash drive or external hard drive for saving files, as the library does not provide these. All files are automatically deleted from the computer after each use. The Memory Lab is open for appointments only. To provide equitable access, we allow only one appointment per week. Reservations can be held for 15 minutes maximum. The transfer of copyrighted materials using the Memory Lab is prohibited. By law, individuals cannot transfer copyrighted materials unless the user obtained permission from copyright holders, or the transfer is for fair use purposes. The Memory Lab is a do-it-yourself space. Basic information about the lab resources can be provided by staff. Users must watch an orientation video before using Memory Lab equipment and can reference training guides for each station while using the lab. User liability. The individual who books the lab will be considered the main user and is responsible for any damages or misuse of equipment, even if a group is working on a project together. Liability limitation. All users must agree to hold the library harmless from any and all claims, losses, damages, obligations, or liabilities directly or indirectly related to the use of its computing and information resources, caused thereby or arising therefrom. To use the Memory Lab, you must sign a user agreement, which discusses liability and informed consent. This liability covers damages to the library's equipment, but also to your items. Running your items through the equipment can result in damage to your item that may be irreversible. If you properly inspect your items for signs of damage, as we discuss later, the chance of damage is low, but it is possible and should be noted. In addition to the Memory Lab, the Placentia Library has the following digitization equipment available through the Library of Things program. These items check out for 2 weeks and require an adult library card and agreement. The Epson Fast Photo FF680W scanner is great for scanning large stacks of photographs. This scanner can digitize 1 photo per second at 300 dots per inch, or DPI, and batch scan up to 36 photos at a time. For those with older equipment at home, the ClearClick Video to Digital Converter can capture your SD video, RCA, VHS, VCR, DVD, camcorder, or Hi8 and other cherished video memories. Please note that you must have the video equipment, such as VCR, at home already to use this item. The Wolverine F2D Titan Digital Converter is for those wishing to convert 35mm, 127, 126, 110, or APS slides and film negatives into digital JPEG images to share and preserve them forever. How do you make an appointment? First, get a library card. Visit Placentia Library District's information desk if you do not have a library card. Library cards are free to California residents with a valid driver's license or U.S. government-issued photo identification and accompanying proof of current California address issued within 6 months. Watch the orientation video. Sign the user agreement. Completing a user agreement is required to use the lab. If you are younger than 18, parental or legal guardian consent is required. Visit placentialibrary.org/memory-lab to download or pick up a copy in person. You can sign the agreement on the day of your first appointment. Book an appointment. To make an appointment, call 714-528-1906, extension 224, or email historyroom@placentialibrary.org. Preparing for your appointment. First, inspect your materials. Check your items for mold and damage, as we are unable to accept moldy or damaged items as they risk damaging our equipment. Locate everything you want to save. This may include photo albums, file folders, carousels of slides, CDs of photographs, and more. Decide where you will store your digital files. This can be an external hard drive, 16 gigabyte or higher thumb drive, or to the cloud. Note that 1 hour of video is approximately 9 gigabytes. 1 hour of audio is approximately 620 megabytes, and one 5x7 photograph is about 7 megabytes as a JPEG, or 40 as a TIFF file. Decide how you will organize your files. This is important to do before beginning, so you don't end up with endless files that you can't find. Organize in a way that makes sense to you. For example, years, holidays, or stages of life. Curate down. Do you need to digitize every item you have? Often you will have duplicates of photographs. We recommend you curate down to a key number of items you want to preserve. Remember, making digital copies of your items is important, but it is also time-consuming. Prioritize. Determine which items are most important to you. As mentioned above, digitization is a process that takes time, so decide in what order you are going to digitize your items. Do not bring in materials that are mildewy or moldy. Mold will spread to our equipment and other patrons' materials. Mildew is often accompanied by mold. Do not bring in materials that have vinegar syndrome or sticky shed syndrome. Film with vinegar syndrome smells like vinegar and is followed by shrinkage and embrittlement. Tapes with sticky shed syndrome will leave magnetic particles as it breaks down, damaging the tape head. Do not bring in materials that are physically damaged or deteriorated, such as a broken casing. Any form of damage to the external plastic housing of a tape or the magnetic tape itself makes the tape ineligible for digitization, as it may also break down our equipment. What do you need for your appointment? You will need the items you have selected. Please inspect your items for mold and damage. We are unable to accept moldy or damaged items as they risk damaging our equipment. Remember that 1 hour of video takes over an hour to digitize. Don't try to bring too much. Bring a storage device. The amount of memory you will need depends on how much you plan to digitize. 1 hour of video equals 9 gigabytes. 1 hour of audio equals 620 megabytes. And one 5x7 photograph equals either 7 megabytes as a JPEG or 40 megabytes as a TIFF. We recommend external hard drives, formatted for both Macs and Windows. And you'll need to check in at the information desk. Staff may inspect your items to ensure that it does not harm our equipment. They will then point you to the memory lab. You are required to bring your own storage device, such as the following: an external drive storage, a USB, external hard drive, SD card, or cloud storage account. It is important that you bring your own storage device because at the end of each day, the files are automatically deleted from the computer. How much storage do you need? At the Memory Lab, we recommend at least a 16 gigabyte USB drive or flash drive, but the bigger the better. At home, you may need 500 gigabytes or 1 terabyte of external storage, enough to share all your digitized files, all of your digital photos that you already have. Flash drives and external drives are available wherever electronics are sold. Reformatting your external hard drive. You may not need to reformat your external hard drive depending on when it was purchased, but if you do, to reformat it on a PC, first plug the drive into the computer. Second, open the File Explorer. Third, right-click on the drive and select Format. And fourth, select exFAT from the drop-down box and click Start. FAT32 was the de facto standard file system beginning in 1995. Flash drives you purchase will often come formatted with FAT32 for maximum compatibility across not just modern computers, but other devices like game consoles and anything with a USB port. Individual files on a FAT32 drive cannot be over 4 gigabytes. exFAT was introduced in 2006 and has large file limits and partition sizes, allowing you to store files much larger than the 4 gigabytes allowed by FAT32. exFAT is not always compatible with older operating systems. You must have a Mac OS X 10.6.5 or newer, and PCs need to be Windows Vista, SP1, Windows 7, or newer. To reformat your external hard drive on a Mac, first open Desk Utility. Second, select Drive to format. Third, click the Erase button. Fourth, select exFAT format from the drop-down menu. 5. Click Erase and follow the prompts. Again, exFAT is not compatible with older operating systems. You must have a Mac OS X 10.65 or newer, and PCs need to be Windows Vista, SP1, or Windows 7 or newer. If you have an older operating system, you may have to stick with a FAT32 format. However, this will limit you to 4 gigabytes in terms of size. Now let's talk about metadata. Metadata is data about data, or information about an item. For example, if you are scanning a photograph, the data is the photograph itself, and the information about the photograph is called metadata. Metadata is important because it helps you understand the context of personal archival items. For example, you may find your photograph has writing on the back. It may include information about the pictured individuals, location, date, or event. Please remember to scan the back of photographs so that you capture the historical context of your photos. A picture may say 1,000 words, but they do not take the place of actual words. There are several ways to add metadata depending on your different operating systems. You can add metadata with Windows, on a Mac, or using a software called MetaZ, which we will discuss later. The Memory Lab has 2 stations, a scanning station and an audiovisual station. The scanning station allows you to digitize documents and photographs sized 8.5 inches by 11.7 inches, as well as slides, film negatives, and floppy disks. The AV, or audiovisual station, allows you to digitize VHS, VHS-C, DV-Cam, and Mini DV-Cam, CDs, DVDs, audio cassettes sized 1/8 inch, 8mm and Super 8mm film without audio, and Video 8, High 8, and Digital 8. Step-by-step guides. Each station has a step-by-step user guide with steps and photographs for each format you can digitize. These will help you each step of the way. Use the table of contents to find the format you wish to use. Using the AV Audiovisual Station. The AV station has the following equipment. Monitoring audio. While the computer software is capturing your video, audio will not be available on the computer. Audio is being captured and will be available once your digital file is complete. If you wish to monitor the audio during the digitization process, you must listen on the physical equipment. This can be done using the Tascam headphones hanging on the rack. There is a connected adapter which will fit any of the AV equipment. Please hang the headphones back up when you are done. Power conditioner. The stationary equipment in the AV server rack is connected to a power conditioner strip on the top of the rack. Before turning on individual equipment, make sure the power conditioner is turned on. When the power conditioner is on, the green indicator light is on. VHS and VHS-C. VHS-C. Our equipment can digitize SVHS, VHS, VHS-C, and SVHS-C tapes. All use a 1/2 inch tape. However, VHS-C and SVHS-C are approximately 3.8 inches smaller in length and 1.5 inches smaller in width than regular VHS-C, which you can see in the photo. VHS-C and SVHS-C require an adapter to digitize. Using the VHS-C adapter. The VHS-C adapter is located on the top of the VCR machine in the server rack. Take the adapter out to insert the VHS-C tape. Using the VHS-C adapter. Slide the arrow button slowly from left to right until it opens. Press the tape gently into the adapter with the tape side up. Slowly close the VHS-C adapter lid back into place. You will hear a whirring noise that means the adapter is loading the tape. Check to make sure the tape has threaded properly, and continue with the steps to digitize as you would a regular VHS. What you're using. The software you will use on the computer are called Blackmagic Media Express with the logo that looks like a timer and a movie reel, and Handbrake with a logo of a pineapple and a fruity beverage. The physical hardware you will be using are the Mac computer and the Panasonic AG 1980 VCR. Helpful tips. How much time will this take? For every 1 hour video, it will take approximately an hour and a half to digitize. Capture happens in real time, and then the file must be encoded, described, and saved to your hard drive to ensure it will last. Downsizing will also take time. We recommend digitizing no more than 2 hours of video in a 3-hour appointment. How much storage will you need? Again, 1 hour of video equals 100 gigabytes before it is downsized. This is why we suggest compressing your videos using Handbrake. It will convert 100 gigabytes of video to 4 gigabytes, without losing any quality. If you receive the too large for volume format error message, it is probably because you are saving a file larger than 4 gigabytes on a flash drive, which is not formatted for exFAT. You may have to reformat the drive or downsize the file to continue. You are able to use the standard VCR functions. Power to turn on and off, plug-in headphones on the left, eject, play, rewind, fast forward, pause, and stop. Do not use the record function. This will record over your home movie. Please do not adjust the settings on the VCR other than the allowed buttons mentioned. Always insert the tape into the VCR with the flap side in and clear windows facing up. If the tape is on the right wheel, it will need to be rewound. Prepare the VHS tape. First, press power on the power conditioner, VCR, and monitor. Insert the VHS tape into the VCR, flap side in, with clear windows facing up. If the tape is on the right wheel, it will need to be rewound. Make sure the tape is rewound to the beginning, or where you want to begin digitizing. Before you begin, it can be helpful to play the tape and watch on the monitor, as you may not want to digitize the entire tape. When you have the tape to the location you wish to start digitizing, press pause. Open Black Media Express. The software we use to capture VHS is called Black Media Express. The logo is pictured here. Open the software on the computer. It should immediately load to the Log and Capture tab, which is to the left of the Playback tab. When you are ready to start capturing your video, you will do two things. The first is to click Capture in the Media Express software on the computer. You will then, as quickly as you can, press play on the VCR. You will let the video play until you are ready to stop digitizing. The thing to keep in mind is that you must click to capture on the computer and play on the VCR. Otherwise, you will capture a blank screen. Monitoring the capture. The video should play both on the monitor and in Media Express. While the video feed will appear in Media Express, the computer will be silent. The two moving green bars at the bottom will indicate sound is being recorded. If you wish to monitor the audio, you will have to plug the headphones in onto the actual VCR. When the video capture is over, click Capture one more time. This will end the digitization process and create a video file. Note, you may have more than one event recorded on a VHS tape. We recommend capturing as separate digital files. To do this, click Capture when the video cuts to a new recording. Press pause on the VCR, move on to the future steps, then repeat the process several times with the next event on your tape. You now have a digital video file. In Media Express, the video file you just created will show up on the left of the Media Express window. The video file will also be saved on the desktop in the folder called Media Express Files. Check to make sure your video file is saved in the Media Express Files folder on the desktop, then close Media Express. If Media Express asks, "Do you wish to save changes to your project?" select Don't Save. If you wish to rename your video file on the desktop, you can do so by double-clicking the file. In the .app toolbar, select File and then click Rename. Decide if you want to rewind and then eject your tape. If you have only digitized a portion of this tape, leave in the middle for the next time you digitize. If you have more time in your appointment, you can repeat the digitization steps. Handbrake. Capturing 1 hour of video will give you an approximately 100 gigabyte file. This is why we suggest compressing your files using Handbrake. It will convert your 100 gigabyte file to a 4 gigabyte file, much more manageable. The logo for Handbrake is a pineapple and a fruity beverage. When you open the Handbrake software, this is the screen that will appear. Open Handbrake. First, insert your personal storage device into the USB port on the computer. Double-click the Handbrake logo on the computer to open. Click the Open Source button to open the video file you wish to downsize. The file should have saved automatically to the folder titled Media Express Files. Finally, click Open. Adjust the settings. Choose Video Resolution. Select the preset drop-down menu. Select General. Then select either the Fast 720p 30 or the Fast 1080p 30, whichever resolution you prefer. Choose the video file format by selecting Format from the drop-down menu. We recommend MP4, but you can select whichever file format you prefer. Select where to save your files. Near the bottom of the window, you will find the Save As text box. Under Save As, make sure the file extension is part of the file name. For example, the file name should be movieexample.mp4, not movieexample. If the file extension is not included in the file name, the video will not play on all platforms. Click Browse near the bottom right to choose where the file will save. Select the storage device you brought with you and hit Choose. Your storage device will be listed under Locations in the browsing window. Otherwise, you can save it under the Handbrake's file folder and transfer to your storage device later. Compressing your video file. Once you have adjusted the settings and selected where you want the file to save, press the green Start button near the top of the Handbrake window. This will compress your file, making it a more reasonable size, and it may take several minutes to complete. The compressed file will automatically save to the storage device that you selected. When the file is finished compressing, close Handbrake. Saving your video file. When the file is finished compressing, close Handbrake. If you changed the save location, the files will be on your device. If you did not change the save location, the files will be saved to the Handbrake Files folder on the desktop, and you will have to move them over. Check your storage device to make sure your movie is saved. And that's it. You can now repeat this process for your entire appointment time, add metadata, or finish your appointment. Adding metadata, an optional step. MetaZ is a software that allows you to add metadata or descriptive information about your digital files, such as giving it a name and writing the year it was recorded. This step is optional, however, adding metadata will ensure your home movies are accessible for years to come. Click on the MetaZ icon on the dock, which is a tag with a red handle that says MetaZ. Once the software is open, click on the plus sign to select your video file. Select Home Movie as the video type, enter the artist name, enter a title, enter the approximate date when it was filmed. Use the short description box to provide any other important contextual information and technical information such as names, places, description of events, rights information, or how it was originally captured, such as VHS, mini DV, etc. To save your information, click on the right icon in the top left corner of the window. Finishing your appointment. When your appointment time is over, double-check your file or files saved to your device. Remember, your items will be deleted from the computer when you leave. Eject all storage devices, memory cards, USB sticks by clicking the eject icon next to the name of the device in the Finder window. Turn off all equipment used. Please plug the computer's mouse back in before you leave, and inform library staff you are finished with your appointment. Audio cassettes, standard 1/8 inch. What you're using. For software, you will be using Audacity. Its logo is blue headphones with a yellow-reddish audio wavelength. For hardware, you will be using the Tascam 202MK V11 audio cassette deck. Using the Tascam 202MK V11 cassette deck. The Tascam cassette deck has 2 deck ports for transfer from one audio cassette to another. For digital conversion, however, you will use only one. The buttons you will need are power, eject, play, stop, rewind, and fast forward, plug headphones in, do not press to record. It will record over your current tape. Turn on the cassette deck. First, make sure the power conditioner is turned on. Then turn on the Tascam cassette deck. The power button is on the lower left-hand side of the deck. When the button is pushed in, that means the deck is on. Next, load your tape. Press the eject button on the left-hand side. This will automatically open the deck. Compact cassettes usually come with 2 sides, side 1 and 2, or side A and B. Start with side 1 or side A facing you. Insert your cassette tape with the magnetic tape side down, as pictured here. Next, you will open the Audacity software on the Mac computer by double-clicking the Audacity icon. Note, if the icon is not there, you can search for Audacity in the Finder window. Audacity will open to a blank screen and monitors. Make sure the following settings are selected. First, that the mic and the sound are both set to USB audio codec, as pictured here, and the stereo recording channels is selected. Capturing your audio. First, be sure to rewind the tape. Then, click on the words "Click to start monitoring" displayed over the numbers on the Audacity window on the computer. Then, immediately press play on the actual Tascam cassette deck. In Audacity, you should see green bars begin moving across the numbers as your tape is playing. If the bars are generally below the -15 mark or above the -3 mark and showing red as opposed to the blue pictured here, you will need to adjust the recording volume. You can also listen to the tape by plugging the headphones directly into the Tascam cassette deck. To adjust the recording volume, move the slider next to the microphone icon towards the minus sign softer or the plus sign louder as shown. You should see activity in the window like the screenshot above. Saving your audio file. Make sure your storage device is connected to the computer. Go to File, Export, Export as WAV in the Audacity menu. We recommend saving as a WAV file, but you can also save as an MP3. Give it a name that is consistent and obvious to you. Adding metadata, an optional step. When you save the file, a window will appear for you to enter metadata, or descriptive information about the file. Be sure to include information you wish to save, such as when the file was digitized. And then click OK. If you have additional time in your appointment, you may repeat the steps with additional tapes. However, when you're done, make sure you eject the tape from the Tascam cassette deck. Eject your storage media from the computer, such as any external hard drives, memory drives, cards, or USB, by clicking the eject icon next to the name of the device in the Finder window. Turn off all equipment used, plug the mouse back in, and tell staff you're done. DV Cam and Mini DV. What you're using. You'll use the software iMovie, whose logo is a purple star with a white camera. The hardware you are using is the Sony DSR-20 DV Cam deck, pictured here. Using the Sony DSR-20 DV Cam deck, the buttons you will need are Power, Eject, Stop, Rewind, Play, and Fast Forward, and finally, never press record on the device, as this will record over your home movies. Turn the DV Cam deck on. First, turn the power conditioner on. Then turn the DV Cam deck on. The power button is on the lower left-hand side of the deck. When the light turns green, that means the deck is on. Do not press the record button. Connect the DV Cam to the FireWire adapter. Make sure the FireWire cable labeled Sony DSR-20 DV Cam is plugged into the FireWire adapter on the right-hand side of the iMac computer, as photographed here. Loading your tape. Load your tape into the DV Cam deck. Our deck loads both regular sized and mini DV. When loading mini DV, place directly into the middle of the two slots as pictured here, and wait until it adjusts the deck size before pressing in. Open iMovie and import media. Note: iMovie is Apple's proprietary software for video editing. We chose to use it because it is already on the iMac and the user interface is easier to navigate than many other capture software. The first step is to open iMovie. Then import your media. When you click the Import Media button on the screen, iMovie will recognize the deck and show you an image. Capturing your video file. Click the blue button that says Import at the lower right-hand side of the screen. If an image does not pop up, make sure that the Sony DSR-20 is selected. Monitor your recording as desired. Then, click Stop Importing to stop your recording. Note: you can stop your DV and/or mini DV tape at any time if you only wish to capture part of the tape. If you want to capture the entire tape, there will be a black screen when the video is done. DV and mini DV tapes can be 5 minutes to 2 hours long. Saving your video file. In iMovie, save your file by clicking File, Share, then File. Name and describe your title. Your settings should be the following: Format, video and audio, resolution 640 by 480, quality high. Remember to save to your USB or external hard drive. When your file is done, iMovie will let you know with a screen that says Share Successful. Adding metadata, an optional step. Don't let all your hard work go to waste. Adding metadata can ensure your movies are accessible for years to come. Double-click the Meta-Z icon on the dock. Click the plus sign at the bottom left to select your home movie. Select Home Movie as the video type. Enter the artist or creator name. Enter a title. Enter the approximate date it was filmed. Use the short description box to provide other contextual information, such as names, place, description of the event, or how it was originally captured. To save your information, select the right icon in the top left corner of the window. Finishing your appointment. Eject your storage media from the computer by clicking on the eject icon next to the name of the device in the Finder window. Plug the mouse back in. Eject your DV cam from the deck. Make sure to turn the DV cam deck and power conditioner off, and tell staff you are done. Digital 8, High 8, and Video 8. What you're using. The software you are using is QuickTime, which is a gray cue with a blue backdrop. The hardware you are using is the Sony GV D800 digital Walkman. Helpful tips. How much time will this take? For every 1 hour video, it will take approximately an hour and a half to digitize. Capture happens in real time, and then the file must be encoded, described, and saved to your hard drive to ensure it will last. Downsizing will also take time. We recommend digitizing no more than 2 hours of video in a 3-hour appointment. How much storage will you need? Again, 1 hour of video equals 100 gigabytes before it is downsized. This is why we suggest compressing your videos using Handbrake. It will convert 100 gigabytes of video to 4 gigabytes without losing any quality. If you received the too large for volume format error message, it is probably because you are saving a file larger than 4 gigabytes on a flash drive, which is not formatted for exFAT. You may have to reformat the drive or downsize the file to continue. Take out and plug in. Take the Sony DV D800 digital Walkman out of the server rack and place on the desk on the left-hand side. Then make sure the FireWire cable labeled Sony GV D800 digital Walkman is plugged in to the FireWire adapter on the right-hand side of the iMac computer as photographed. Connect to power and FireWire. Place the digital Walkman on the left side of the computer. Use the label cords to plug into power and the FireWire. The Walkman is labeled so you can see where the cords go. Using the Sony GV D800 digital Walkman, you will need the following buttons: power on and off, play, stop, rewind, and fast forward. To eject, press and slide. Do not press record on the device or it will record over your tape. Only record or capture on the computer. Load your tape. Make sure the tape deck is on. Push the button on the front of the deck to open the lid. The power switch is on the upper right-hand side of the deck. When the light turns green, that means the deck is on. Load your tape into the deck by pushing the eject switch on the bottom right. Your tape should go into the metal slot face up with the top end going in first. Press the door down to close and wait for the tape to load. You will hear the deck making noise, which is normal. Rewind your tape by pressing the WER rewind button on the tape deck. Open QuickTime. Note, QuickTime is Apple's proprietary software. We chose it because it is already on the iMac and the user interface is easier to navigate than many other capture software. On the Mac computer, double-click the QuickTime icon in the dock. Once QuickTime is open, go to File, New Movie Recording. You can adjust the volume by moving the slider to the right for louder or left for softer. Click on the arrow to the right of the red dot and make sure that the GV-D800 is selected for both the camera and microphone. And select if you would like high or maximum quality. Capturing your video file. When you are ready, click on the red dot at the bottom of the QuickTime window to begin recording, and then immediately press play on the tape deck. You should see the tape beginning to play in the QuickTime window on the computer. Monitor your recording. You can stop your tape at any time if you only wish to capture part of the tape. If you want to capture the entire tape, there will be a gray screen in QuickTime and a blue screen on the tape deck when the video is done. Video 8, High 8, Digital 8 tapes can be up to 2 hours long. When you are done recording, click the gray square to stop recording, and then press stop on the tape deck. Saving your video file. Once you have stopped recording, go to File, Save. Your file will be called Untitled by default, but you can change that in the Export As box. Be sure to leave in the .mov extension at the end of your file name. Save your file to the desktop or your storage device. Handbrake. Capturing 1 hour of video will give you an approximately 100 gigabyte file. This is why we suggest compressing your files using Handbrake. It will convert your 100 gigabyte file to a 4 gigabyte file, much more manageable. The logo for Handbrake is a pineapple and a fruity beverage. When you open the Handbrake software, this is the screen that will appear. Open Handbrake. First, insert your personal storage device into the USB port on the computer. Double-click the Handbrake logo on the computer to open. Click the Open Source button to open the video file you wish to downsize. The file should have saved automatically to the folder titled Media Express Files. Finally, click Open. Adjust the settings. Choose Video Resolution. Select the Preset drop-down menu. Select General. Then select either the Fast 720p 30 or the Fast 1080p 30 whichever resolution you prefer. Choose the video file format by selecting Format from the drop-down menu. We recommend MP4, but you can select whichever file format you prefer. Select where to save your files. Near the bottom of the window, you will find the Save As text box. Under Save As, make sure the file extension is part of the file name. For example, the file name should be movieexample.mp4, not movieexample. If the file extension is not included in the file name, the video will not play on all platforms. Click Browse near the bottom right to choose where the file will save. Select the storage device you brought with you and hit Choose. Your storage device will be listed under Locations in the browsing window. Otherwise, you can save it under the Handbrakes file folder and transfer to your storage device later. Compressing your video file. Once you have adjusted the settings and selected where you want the file to save, press the green Start button near the top of the Handbrake window. This will compress your file, making it a more reasonable size, and it may take several minutes to complete. The compressed file will automatically save to the storage device that you selected. When the file is finished compressing, close Handbrake. Saving your video file. When the file is finished compressing, close Handbrake. If you changed the save location, the files will be on your device. If you did not change the save location, the files will be saved to the Handbrake Files folder on the desktop, and you will have to move them over. Check your storage device to make sure your movie is saved. And that's it! You can now repeat this process for your entire appointment time, add metadata, or finish your appointment. Adding metadata, an optional step. MetaZ is a software that allows you to add metadata or descriptive information about your digital files, such as giving it a name and writing the year it was recorded. This step is optional, however, adding metadata will ensure your home movies are accessible for years to come. Click on the MetaZ icon on the dock, which is a tag with a red handle that says MetaZ. Once the software is open, click on the plus sign to select your video file. Select Home Movie as the video type, enter the artist name, enter a title, enter the approximate date when it was filmed. Use the short description box to provide any other important contextual information and technical information such as names, places, description of events, rights information, or how it was originally captured, such as VHS, mini DV, etc. To save your information, click on the right icon in the top left corner of the window. Finishing appointment. Eject your storage media from the computer by clicking on the eject icon next to the name of the device in the Finder window. Unplug all cords from the digital Walkman. Put the Walkman back on its labeled spot in the server rack. Plug the mouse back in and tell staff you are done. 8mm and Super 8mm film. Digitizing 8mm and Super 8mm film. You'll be using the Wolverine Movie Maker Pro, a standalone converter. First, make sure you have head and tail leader on your film roll. This chart shows the approximate time length for 8mm and Super 8mm film based on the reel length. The Wolverine scanner creates HD 1080p MP4 video at 20 frames per second. The scanner does not capture sound. However, most home movies were shot without sound. It takes approximately 10 minutes to scan 1 minute of film. Take Wolverine out. First, take the Wolverine Movie Maker Pro out of the server rack and place it on the desk on the left-hand side of the computer. Plug into power. Next, use the cord labeled Wolverine Movie Maker Pro to connect it to power.
So this is your take-up reel, and your take-up reel goes over here, and there are these little keys here, and you'll see this sort of little slot that this will fit into, and then you kind of, it's nice and snug on there. So here's my film. And then my film has a bunch of leader on it, which is good. It's a little bit much right now, a little bit much of leader. But basically, you want leader on your film, and this is something you can have, some people won't have it on their home movies, so you'll have to buy some, and then they can splice, you'll have to buy a splicer and all that jazz, because you want people to fix their splices, or at least make sure that their splices are good and will hold up in this so that they don't have to fiddle with it, because this does take a long time. That's one thing that you'll see. So you want to make sure that they go through and check their splices first, fix their splices if there's a problem, make sure it's not super shrunken or brittle so it won't break, and then put some leader on it. And I always like to write, the head is the beginning of the film, so and that's how you want to load it, is with heads out. So you want to write that on your film so you know when you look at it, like, is it, and then tails is the end of the film. You can also, you know, put whatever word will make you realize that this is the beginning of the film. And this is how you want to thread it. So you want to put a little bit of leader, and then I already put this, one of the adapters in the reel, but you'll see why we have these adapters is because this isn't going to fit, right? So we put the adapter in the side. One side doesn't have any of those slots. This side does. So side with slots, side with no slots. So we're going to take this with the notches, see, and it might take a little bit. It took me a little while to get it to like fit the way I wanted it to. There we go, and you hear a nice satisfying snap. But yeah, when you print things, sometimes like there's a little extra plastic, so this kind of popped off a little bit, but it fits nicely now. So then we come over here, and here's our little slot there. Well, and then there's just the littlest indentation there. So we pop it in there, and then it's nice and snug. And I like to, since this is where it's really good to have a lot of leader, so you're not like touching and getting your finger juice all over your film, you're just getting it on your leader. So right now, I'm going to just put there's a little slot here, I'm going to take my leader and just kind of bend it in there, so like that, and I just move it around like it's a record I am spinning, and then it kind of catches a little bit, and that's what you want. So okay, we've got that connected. Then I like to pull out a little extra leader, and honestly at this point, since I have so much leader on here, I'm gonna really so now you basically just follow the arrows with the leader over here. In here, you flip this open, okay? So here's show it again. I'm a little worried about the dirt that's kind of accumulating right here, so you might want to just like get some distilled water or something. Don't use alcohol in this because this is plastic, but maybe like at the end of the week or something, you get some distilled water and just kind of like clean that up a little bit because it's looked a little dirty. Anyway, but you get one of these like puffer things, and you can kind of clean the dust out of there. And then it's very hard to see, but you would see it if you were physically there. I doubt it'll come too much across right now. But so there is a slot, like metal slot right there on the right side, and then there's these two white slots. So white, and like that one in there is kind of white too. You have to put the film under those slats. So I like the one in the middle, from the furthest away from you, is the one I want to do first. So we kind of like slide it under, there it is. Then I'm gonna slide it under that one. Then I'm gonna slide it under that one. Great. Then you close it. And we wanna make sure it's on the right one. So this is Super 8, and that's because you can see because the sprocket holes are smaller. But if it was 8, we would just pooch that on over, but it's Super 8. So now we just need to make sure that our leader is following the yellow brick road there. So it's going this way, and you want it to go around that roller. Then you follow it. It wants to go around that roller, and this one, and these. And then it's beautiful. And we press power. Then you hit menu. And there are a lot of things in the menu that you can go through. But first, I just want to show you, you hit record, it says select film type, and it just tells you what to do down here. But we're good, we have it good. So we're just pressing enter again, and it's going to start doing each frame. And this is where it's like, I'm happy that the leader ends right there, so that we can very quickly get to an actual image, because you will want to kind of play around with the exposure and adjust the framing a little bit, which you guys will, once we get an image coming up. So I did already play with it, so that's why it's actually looking pretty good. And I'll show you, I'm gonna stop. So I'm stopping it, okay? And that's how then you can get back in the menu. We're going down. So the exposure is how bright, the brightness of it. So I'm gonna go into that, and I had made it really bright. So I'm gonna just go to 0 again, to the normal brightness that I had. So you can also make it darker if you feel like it needs to be sharpness. You can, so if you go to high, it just looks really grainy. So I'm gonna go, I've chosen high so you can just kind of see. Now frame adjustment is what I really think you guys are gonna want, because when I first got it, it was like when I first put the film on, okay? And so then if I go into, back to menu, and then I start it again, yep, we know we're doing it right. It was just like, not looking right? I was like, oh, that doesn't look good. Because you can see the top of the frame, and you can see the slide, so you want more of you're cutting off a lot, and it's not gonna look good. So I stopped it, I went into menu, frame adjustment, and then this is where I was just like, you press down and up when it says Y to move the frame up. And then if you want to move the frame to the left or the right, okay, now I did it too much. Then you press enter, and then we'll go, oh wait, what is this? Oh, this is zooming out. Oh, cool. I didn't even know it did that. That's great. So if I press enter again, then it'll go left and right. Cool. That's super cool, because I was worried we were cropping off a lot. So enter will go down, okay, and then enter again, and I'm zooming in, and then enter again, and I'm going, because I just kind of cut that off a little bit. I kind of, let's see, and then you can just keep playing with it if you want, and getting it like the way that you want. I kind of like to have as much of the frame as possible, so I'm gonna go for that. And then hit, oh wait, no. And then menu will take you back to nothing. Yep. And then we go and do the start. Yeah, and see, that looks much better. And we're getting the full frame and all the visual information that we would want potentially. And then you can also, like I said, you can see more grain in this one, then it just looks grainier when you do sharper versus not sharp. So you can just play with those, but it's more the frame adjustment, I think, that is the most important. And then as you can see, like, this is not really a long reel, but it's going to take a while. It takes 10 minutes to do 10 minutes of this to do 1 minute of film. So you're really gonna, you know, really choose wisely. And then I will send you guys also or maybe I'll just edit into this video, the side-by-side comparison of this film as it is now versus a 6-figure or at least 5-figure film scanner, whereas this is under $1,000. But just keep in mind that this is 8 and Super 8, so it doesn't do any other formats, and it only works on silent film. So, yeah, cool. Thank you.
Next, we will cover the formats in the scanning station. The scanning station has the following equipment: transparency adapters, floppy disk drive, and the Epson V600 Photo Perfect scanner. How long does scanning take? Scanning will take different amounts of time based on how quickly you work, what formats you are scanning, and what resolution you scan at. The higher resolution, the slower the scanning time will be. Slide scans take the longest because slides are small and need to be scanned at a very high resolution. You can scan some transparency formats in batches. Photographic prints and documents. What you're using. The software you are using is the Epson Scan software, which is a gray-blue scanning logo with the lid open. The hardware you are using is the Epson V600 photo scanner and a Dell computer. Prepare your prints and documents. Make sure they are clean and dust-free. Place items face down on the scanning bed. Be careful not to scratch the scanning bed. Close scanning bed lid. Make sure the scanner is powered on and is connected to the computer. Open the Epson Scan software icon located on the desktop and connect your external hard drive to the computer. Scanner settings. The Epson software will open to this screen. This is where you will change your settings. First, make sure you are on professional mode. Set the document type to reflective. For documents, you will set the auto exposure type to document, while for photos, you will set the auto exposure type to photo. You can decide the following settings if you wish, but if you're not sure, we recommend the following. For documents, we recommend a resolution of 300 dpi or dots per inch. For photos, we recommend a DPI of 800. Image type. Black and white is for unannotated business documents and papers. 16-bit grayscale is for black and white negatives and unyellowed black and white prints or newspaper, unless they have a feature that will not be captured by grayscale, such as highlighting and illustrations. For everything else, select 24-bit color. And if you're not sure, we also recommend you select 24-bit color. When you are done, click Preview. Preview options. The Epson Scan software allows you to preview in 2 different ways. In the general preview, you will use the tool to draw the area of the image you wish to scan, which is noted by a dotted line. In the thumbnail preview, the software predetermines this area. It can be easier for slides and film negatives, but remember it's not always accurate, so double check. When you're happy with your preview, click Scan. When you click Scan, the file save settings will pop up. Create a file naming convention and start with 001. For documents, choose PDF under image type. For photos, choose JPEG or TIFF under image type and click OK. Adding photo metadata on a PC. Metadata is information about the photo that you just scanned, and you can add it one of two ways. First, right-click on the image and select Properties. Go to Details tab and insert a title, subject, or date. Or, in the File Explorer, you can click to add a tag or title on the bottom of the screen. Repeat the scanning process until you are done or your appointment time is over. Remove all your prints and documents from the Epson scanner. Make sure the scanner is powered off and closed. Make sure all your files are saved on your storage device. Then, eject your media storage from the computer by clicking on the eject icon next to the name of the device in the Finder window. Tell staff you are done and head out. Film negatives and slides. What you're using. The software you're using is Epson Scan software. Its logo is a gray-blue scanner with the lid open. The hardware you're using is the Epson V600 photo scanner and the transparency units. Remove the document mat. Before using the transparency unit or TPU, you need to remove the reflective document mat and make sure the glass on the document table is clean. First, gently lid the scanner's lid. Then grasp the white reflective document mat by its top edge or a black handle and slide upward to free the bottom edge of the mat. Lower the mat slightly to free from the tabs along the top edge and remove the mat. Make sure the glass on the scanner's document table and on the DPU is completely clean of dust. Using the adapters. To scan film negatives and slides, you will use the transparency adapters. There are two transparency adapters, a double-sided one with side A and side C, and one labeled B. A is used for 35mm film strips. B is for medium format film, and C is used for 35mm slides. Preparing slides and/or negatives. If desired, clean prints and negatives gently with an air puffer. Never touch the negatives with your bare fingers. Do not slide the holders onto the scanner bed, gently placed directly, and be careful not to scratch the scanner bed. Scanning negatives and slides. Make sure the tray is in the correct spot on the bed, lining the A's, B's, or C's up. Place film or slides directly into adapter with the front side or correct side facing down. Open Epson Scan. First, make sure the scanner is powered on and is connected to the computer by the USB cord. Connect your external hard drive or USB stick to the computer. Then, double-click to open the Epson Scan logo located on the desktop. Scanner settings. Make sure you are in professional mode. Set the document type to film. Set the film type to positive film for slides, or color and negative, or black and white negative for film negatives. You can decide the other settings you want. However, we recommend the following. For image type, we recommend 24-bit color and at least 1800 resolution of dots per inch for slides or negatives. When you are ready, click Preview. Preview options. The Epson Scan software will allow you two different styles of preview. The general preview will allow you to use the tool to draw the area of the image you wish to scan, noted by a dotted line. The thumbnail preview will allow the scanner to automatically recognize your photographs as separate files. However, it is not always accurate. The frame icons on the left side of the window will allow you to rotate or flip each image that you select. Choose where to save your files. When you click the Scan button, the File Save settings will pop up. Create a file naming convention, something simple like event and year, and start with 001. Under Image Format Type, choose either JPEG or TIFF under the image format. Then click OK. Adding metadata is an optional step that you can do one of two ways. One way to add metadata is to right-click on the image and select Properties. Then go to the Details tab and click to add the title, subject, date, etc. Another way is in the Windows operating system. Select the photo in File Explorer, then click to add the tag in and titles field displayed on the bottom. Finishing your appointment. Repeat scanning until you are done or your appointment ends. Remove all your items from the scanner. Make sure the scanner is powered off and closed. Make sure your files are saved on your personal storage device. Eject your storage media from the computer by clicking on the eject icon next to the name of the device in the Finder window. Finally, tell staff you are done. Floppy disks. Insert floppy. First, connect your floppy disk drive to the computer. When you connect the external floppy disk drive to the computer's USB port, the drive should start flashing red. Next, insert your 3.5-inch floppy disk into the drive. Grab your files. Select Open Folder to view files at the prompt on the computer screen. If the prompt does not appear, open File Explorer and select the floppy disk drive on the left-hand side to view your files. Copy files to your storage. Copy the files from the floppy disk to your storage device by first highlighting all of the files that you wish to copy from the floppy disk, then dragging the highlighted files to your chosen storage destination. Be sure to rename your files if the existing file names are vague or inconsistent. Some older formats, such as WPD WordPerfect files, may not be able to open with contemporary operating systems. We still recommend that you move all files off your floppy and onto an accessible storage environment anyway. There are many conversion softwares available online for older and obsolete file formats. Finishing your appointment. Eject the floppy disk drive by clicking the upward pointing arrow in the taskbar, then selecting the USB icon. Do not forget your floppy disks and USB or storage device. Inform library staff you are done. More information. What to do with your digitized materials. You can save them to your home computer or external hard drive. You can save them to cloud storage, upload them to social media platforms, send them in emails to friends and family, and create backups, and so much more. Don't let all of your hard work go to waste. Protect your digital files and plan for their long-term preservation by following the 3-2-1 rule of digital preservation, which calls for 3 copies, stored in at least 2 different media with 1 copy located off-site. Additional resources. Interested in personal archiving? You may visit the Library of Congress's Personal Archiving page, the Center for Home Videos, DC Public Memory Library Lab, and more of these websites for pro tips on how to care for your personal archive. Thank you so much for watching the Placentia Library District's Memory Lab orientation video. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us by email at historyroom@placentialibrary.org or by phone at 714-528-1906. Thank you.